Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we are busting another myth. Whoa, I said that right this time. Now, the myth is, this is going to get controversial, but brunettes can be a spring. And when I say brunette, I mean a deep brunette. I don't mean medium light hair. No, I'm talking about deeper hair. Now, why is that the case?
Well, we're not trying to take anything away from anybody. By the time we finish this video, you'll realize that if you know your sub-season, if you know what category you belong in under a season, you can have all of the different characteristics of all four seasons in your season. It's just customized for you. Now, where did this all come from? If you pay a lot of attention to color analysis, questions or, that you find all over the internet, you will hear people say, well, it's not fair because if people with a dark skin tone and dark hair look great in bright colors, then why aren't they a spring? Just because their hair is dark, you're going to make them an autumn, and they don't look like autumn. Here's the thing. Autumn is just kind of a giant catch-all for everybody with medium to deep hair and warm and a warm cast to it. Under the category of autumn is where all the fun happens because, again, this person who was commenting, they said, well, look at how great certain women with their deep skin tones look in bright colors. They do, if they're clear. And what does that mean? If they've got lots of space between their black point and their white point, if they've got a lot of clarity, a lot of contrast, natural contrast, then there is a season for them under autumn that looks almost identical to spring if you put them side by side, except that it picks up the nuances of the deeper hair to provide for balance. It picks up the nuance of warm and deep to provide continuity or harmony. That is why the color order of operations is so important. I know that I get into this and sometimes I feel like a broken record, but the bottom line is if you're light, if you're warm, according to all of the literature and the rules and the so forth, so on, whatever. We break the rules, by the way. But according to all that, you are a spring. And there's certain things, certain nuances that will put you in the spring category. And if you have dark hair and you're warm, you will fall under the umbrella of autumn. But that gets a bad rap because we are making the assumption that every autumn wears those colors and they look like the autumn landscape and they're orangey and terracotta. But some autumns don't. Some autumns wear bright colors. And that answers the sort of frustration in people when they say, well, I know someone who has a dark skin tone, dark brown hair, but they look better in bright colors than in soft colors or, typical spring colors. That's because they are not in their clear autumn palette, which looks an awful lot like the clear spring palette.
So let's get a little bit more into that because if you are thinking, so we have somebody who's warm and they are on the deeper side. Now, springs are light and warm. So a clear spring palette, let's just use, because this person we're talking about has a lot of clarity. A clear spring would also have more of they can wear lighter pastelier colors. So what is that going to do with somebody with like a deep, rich, warm skin tone? It's going to make them look grayer. On the other side, if we look at a clear autumn palette, all of those shades fall a little bit deeper, but they're still really rich and intense and bold.
Let's talk about it in terms of oranges, because there's where you're going to see a vast difference. If you get into your turquoises, your greens, a lot of
they're
those
going to be
are the
similar.
Same. When you're talking about your orange, your clear spring wears a brighter, lighter orange.
Yes.
That is not at its full intensity.
Right.
It's a little peachier just because, as a clear spring, you're a little peachier.
Yeah, think of like the peach emoji. You know how it's like soft pinkier but orangey at the same time, but it has like a light quality to it.
Now, as a clear autumn who looks really good in those bold colors and not really good in typical autumn colors, that her orange is full on blow your socks off orange.
I'm like rich.
And they will look amazing. Why? Because of the laws of balance. You've got to balance the hair regardless. I mean, you may want to say, well, this person's a spring because she has dark brown hair, really dark brown hair. Okay, maybe, but how are you going to balance all this dark brown hair in a clear spring palette?
Only some of the colors would work because some of them would be medium in depth. But that's why we flip you to the bottom being deep to give you the depth and the richness in that bold color. Now, I will say, I know we're talking about this a lot, but if you are somebody that works in the 12 palette season, you don't have a clear autumn. So it's not like that exists.
Oh, good point.
So I understand if you go to somebody in a 12 palette system, all they have is a warm, a clear, and a light spring palette to work from. And on the autumn side, they only have a soft, a warm, and a deep. So they don't have a clear autumn palette to work from. So I get it in that aspect because it's not available. It's not a palette that is there.
So what do you need to do? If you have dark brown hair, but you look better in clear colors, you need to research the 16 palette system where you will find a home designed just for you. Now, your question might be, why doesn't everybody use a 16 palette system? Why is the 12 more popular than the 16? Because clear autumns, people who have really dark hair and can wear really clear colors, they're rare. They're the rarest of all 4 autumns. There's soft autumn, you see some soft autumns. Deep autumns, you see some deep autumns.
I love deep
orange. Exactly. And warm autumns. We have some fiery, beautiful warm autumns. But you don't really typically see the clear autumn as much as you see the other 3.
Right.
So the 4 seasons, the 12 palette system, they all are based on getting a group of people, and you go where there are the most people, and that's who you design for. That's who you design your palette for. That's who you. So when the 4 seasons, they just covered everybody. If you were light and warm, you were a spring. Didn't matter. All the iterations, and you would get a list of 40 colors, and you might be able to wear 6 of the 40. It perfectly, for yourself. People aren't used to knowing, and this is what we want you to know, you can get a palette that has 36 colors in it, and every single one of them is perfect for you.
Right.
But to do that, some people, or rarer people, have to go with the 16 palette system. Or even, we've developed an additional 4 palettes because the nuances are greater, and if you run into somebody who is neutral, we've developed 4 neutral palettes because sometimes people are neither warm or cool. Sometimes they're right in the middle. And it's rare. It's rarer than the other. But we are all about facilitating everybody, regardless of how rare their type is, they should have a palette that's perfect for them. That's why we're up to 20 now, right?
Oh, we have a ton.
22 maybe.
Yeah, I think we have more than that. Now, shameless plug, if you would like any of our digital downloads that we have been talking about and hyping up here.
Working on. Endlessly.
They are linked in the description down below. Also, if you're looking for a color analysis with us, we will be happy to create your own custom color portfolio. So all of the links to our socials as well are down in the description below. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.